Smile. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Path to Passion.
Right. My name's Tim. This is Carrie.
I'm Carrie.
I'm Tim. It's going to be one of those days, people. So
we apologize.
Yeah, come for some education. Really stay for the entertainment is more like it.
Yeah, especially today. So are you looking to build trust and connection in your relationship? Yeah?
Everybody should be.
I know. Because after the pandemic, which is what this is all about, the path to passion, we'll get a little serious. Maybe. Is to build the connection back between the couples, because the world's going to go back to being open and different, and we've been pent up for a while. So we are trying to help couples reconnect after the pandemic when we go back out into the world. So if you're looking to build a connection, your partnership, make it stronger, you're in the right place.
Yeah, and I think there's this thing about it's going to go back to normal, and I think I'd like it to go back to healthy. Really what healthy is, right? And not necessarily what normal is. Because I would say, the normal wasn't, what we did in the past wasn't always the greatest. I have to get up in the morning, rush out, barely say goodbye to the kids or do any of that stuff, and then off the door you go. And now there's going to be be able to work from home, build those connections while you're together. And I think that might be a little bit healthier. So it's this healthy connection. That's why I think when Carrie mentioned it earlier, it was not about going back to normal. It was about opening back up and what do we want. Heart. Yeah, and it's going to be one of those situations where we're going to want to take what really worked, and then what we're here to help you do is what didn't work, and how can you build on that and make a stronger and tighter connection. So super excited you're here today.
Yes.
We're talking about some magical words. Magic. I know some people out there might not think as magical as they can be, but they're very, very powerful.
They're very powerful, yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway.
So the three magical words are, I am sorry. I know those are hard words for some of us. And in different situations, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not, just depending on our beliefs. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the price of being right. And what that means to us is your pride, right? If you let your pride get in the way of saying sorry to someone because you did something, it's going to block you and it's going to create negative energy in you. And that's not what we want. So what we're trying to do is get rid of that negative energy. So when you feel that pride or of being right, we want you to actually look at the situation from the other person's point of view. Doesn't mean you're going to agree with them, but it puts you in their shoes and it lets you think about, all right, how are they feeling when I said this or I did that, or, whenever it goes back and forth. And then you can see yourself in your own shoes. But when we put ourselves in their shoes, it then makes it much easier to say, oh, I know where they were coming from. Doesn't mean you have to agree, but when you know where they're coming from, then you can say you're sorry for your peace. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like being right. It doesn't build connection.
No.
It just builds being right. And one of the things is if you really stepped and if I take Carrie's thought just a step further, right? And you say, okay, they did this, I did that. And you could look at the path of really this escalation, if you will. And you might have said something, earlier in the day that then, tripped up that person, and then something else happened, and something else happened, and then there's a blow up or the situation where there's this opportunity. It's an opportunity to be able to say, I'm sorry, and to use magical words, right? So there's always, I like to look at it, there's always my part. And I don't have to apologize for the whole thing or admit that I was completely wrong or 100% at fault.
Right.
But I do need to own my part of it and to be able to say, hey, I did this and I see how that could, trigger you or make you respond in this way. And I'm sorry for that. And so, again, those three little...
And one step further, actually, you could ask, how could I do it differently next time?
Ooh, that's a great bonus. That's like a bonus inside of a bonus.
Yes!
Right? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about number two, unless, there's anything else there, right?
No, number two.
Number two is really, I like this, freedom, the freedom you get from using those words. And we all know, when we've made a mistake. And there's usually, the first response is cover it up and denial. And but that comes with the price when you do that piece. And that price is you always have to be thinking about it. It's not necessarily lying per se. It could be considered that way because you're not really being, your integrity is probably more being impacted there. But really what it comes down to is like, now that's living rent free in your head. It's like, oh, maybe I should have said sorry. I didn't want to say sorry. Now I've already covered my tracks and I'm really gotta, and that takes up a lot of mental, capacity when really like, hey, we're busy enough. Why don't you just get free from it and come back to them? So a good test for me is if it's bouncing around in my head, living in there rent free, I may not even know what I did wrong necessarily, but at least it'll give me a chance to start a conversation with Carrie or start a conversation with somebody, say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit off about this. I'm not sure why. And then that can foster a conversation, which builds
Connection.
Absolutely. And then that's probably where you learn, okay, then I need to own my part. You go back to step one and say, I need to own my part here and say, yeah, I apologize for this piece. I'm sorry for this piece. And now, freedom.
Yeah, you'll witness that freedom of your heart. Your heart will be like, okay.
Yeah. So exciting.
Yeah, it's a good one. So number 3 is kind of what Tim said, is that we all make mistakes. But the biggest thing is when we all make mistakes is the other person should not hold a grudge. We can't hold grudges because, again, that is like that block, the block of negative energy sitting in us that is not letting everything flow as it should. So what we want to do is own your part, like we said earlier, right? And then let it go. We need to forgive, right? We're human. We're here to make mistakes and learn and do lessons. So when your partner makes a mistake, we need to forgive them, right? And I'm not saying like when they make it over and over and over, we do need to discuss that. That's a whole nother conversation. But when they do own their part and they come to you and they say sorry, you need to own your part too. And look at what you did. You can say sorry as well. And then you also need to be like, okay, let it go. We handled it. We're not going to bring this up in 4 weeks or months or years.
Right. That used to drive me nuts.
In a previous one.
In a previous relationship, right? It would be like, 3.5 years ago, 4 days, 5 hours. And you're like, I don't even remember that. I thought we let that piece go. That's what a grudge is.
Yeah.
And then you just took something that should have been let go, and it's now weaponized. And it comes back to being number one, right? You now just come back, well, I'm right. Because this is what you did 3.5 years ago or 3.5 months ago or whatever that piece is. So holding that grudge, is a lot of work. And it makes me, my shoulders drag already. Yeah. It ties back into number 2. It's like, don't you want to be free from that? Just let it go. Do the forgiveness piece. Right. And so, that's the exciting piece about that number 3. I just saw an article today on LinkedIn, a couple married 75 years, 75, just the cutest couple that you would ever see. I think she's 101 and he's 98. So, good for her.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is they're happy. So imagine if you were trying to carry this grudge for all those years, right? So what could be start off as a little grudge, in 10 years is a much bigger grudge, 20 years, even bigger in 30. So think the long term here about grudges and getting free and cleaning that slate. Karen? Right,
because if you talk about it, right, and like we said with the freedom, you talk back and forth about it, you don't hold the grudge, right? Because the grudge is let go, so there is no grudge. So if we're building the connection correctly, right? So exciting. So if you build it correctly and let go of the grudge, have those difficult conversations, they're not easy, but the more you do it, the easier it is.
And the more you're connected.
Yeah.
It's another opportunity to connect.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all about connection. All right, do we have a bonus?
We do!
Sweet, I love a bonus.
Yeah. So bonus is, don't overuse it though. Yeah, let's not make it a habit to just pacify the other person and make them shut up by saying, I'm sorry. Yeah, that doesn't do you any good. And again, it's not having those conversations. It's not getting rid of the grudges. And it's not like setting you free. Instead, it's just still the negative in you. If you just say sorry for the heck of it, right?
Right, absolutely. It doesn't build any connection whatsoever. You're just kind of punting down the road. Hey, I'm sorry. And you can see the sincerity that's there. And remember, the 3 magical words are just a conversation starter.
Yeah.
That allow that connection to be built. And that just gives me goosebumps even just saying that, right? So that's why you want to be able to use it. If you're just saying I'm sorry just to be able to move on
Yeah,
let it go.
make them go away, pacify them.
Yeah, absolutely. Then there's no real value in that. And we want to get the full value out of our relationships. We want to get that deeper connection. So that's a great point. Don't overuse it. You know, be sincere with it. It's based upon your integrity. It's part of your generosity, but it's definitely your responsibility to where you have those opportunities, use it. So
exactly.
Very excited.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, we really enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun today.
Yeah. And we do have another bonus.
No.
Yes. It's a video of how to say sorry and how to do it in a connected way.
Yes. Right? Yeah, absolutely. So
the link will be down below. You can check that out. And we also, if you like what you see and you would love to work with us, because we would love to work with you, is the booster shot for your marriage we created for the pandemic. It's going to be a group coaching. And what you do is we've built a method, we call it.
A method.
Yeah.
Nah, there's a little secret there.
Right. And it's to get us back to the connective people that we're sent here to be, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And it's this booster shot because it'll help us transition into what is going to be healthy for us going forward.
Right.
Not the old norm, not the new norm, just what's healthy for us going forward. And a method can help you with that.
Yeah, so that link will be down below if you'd like to get on the wait list. And we'd love to see any comments, how you say sorry, or any comments based on our talk today. So, yeah, have a good weekend.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here.